Mississippi College head coach John Bland joins us now to preview the upcoming season. Coach, thanks again for making time to join us this season. Give us your general impressions of your practices that you've had here in the weeks leading up to the start of the campaign.
Well, first off, it's great to be back. It's football season. That's exciting, and we've been waiting for it. I think a lot of people have, especially us, the guys who have been working hard. Our players have been working extremely hard, and the good thing is we're about to play some football games because practice is exciting, but after a while it kind of gets tired. Those guys get tired of hitting each other and doing the same things over and over and getting that routine going. We're trying to get prepared, but they want to play, and that's going to be the fun part.
Now, you've talked about how speed and size make all the difference, and this year you feel like you match up better with the teams in the Gulf South Conference because of that, and a lot of that has to do with recruiting, and you're at a little bit more full complement of scholarships this year as well.
It does. You know, for several years now, when we started this process, the limit in Division II is 36 scholarships. And so, you know, when we start off at 0 back in 2014, we added just a little bit. We put a few scholarships in play right there. So obviously that was a mismatch versus our Gulf South Conference opponents with our Division III team. You know, the guys fought hard and they played extremely hard and they tried to build a foundation, but it was difficult just because the talent level and the size and the speed was a little bit different. The next year we added some more, and then the past year we added a little bit more. So now we're right at the equivalent, at least, or close. We're not quite there yet, but we're really, really close, closer to ever been to that 36. With that comes, you know, better players, bigger, faster, stronger. You know, they're just going to match up better on Saturdays, and in this case Thursday versus Clark Atlanta. So we're excited about that. We've also got some transfers in from obviously junior colleges here in Mississippi. Also have some transfers from Utah and also California, which is great. And we also have some transfers from some 1AA schools in Tennessee Tech and also Southeast Missouri. So we're excited about that. Also Kennesaw State just goes on and on, but bigger, faster, stronger guys. We're excited about seeing them play.
Well, let's take a look at some of these position groups. Then we'll start with the quarterbacks. So one of those transfers you talk about is Ty Jobe. And you've got some depth at quarterback too, including Williams, who's a returner from last year.
No doubt, and also Aaron Fiesel. We got 3 guys there. The 2 that you mentioned are great, and also Aaron as well. We're probably better than we've ever been as far as talent-wise. If any 3 of those go in the game, we'll feel real good. We've also got some players at other positions that have played quarterback, just talented kids. So we're really, really good at the quarterback spot. We've got to find the guy who will get in there, and they're going to excited to play and execute our offense to perfection. And we're still working on that, but that's what the games are all about. So we're excited about Ty, though. He came in from Tennessee Tech. He's a dual threat quarterback, can run the football, can throw it, can do it all. Obviously, he's learning this system for the first time. So it's going to take a little bit of time. So we're going to start off slow and work him in. But Kyron has done really good for us in the past too, and you know that. We saw the Valdosta State game last year. He started and played that whole game. Valdosta State was a playoff team. That is the best of the best in Division II football. They're in the GSC and one of the powerhouses. Goes down to the final play, 42-41. We lose that game, and Kyron operated that game the whole time at quarterback, playing really well. So we know he's capable, and he's going to be able to play a big role for our success this year as well.
You know, one of the things that we heard after pretty much every game last year was from opponents that if there was a receiver better than Marcel Newsom in the conference, they didn't know who he was. And it's tough to replace a guy like that, but you've got some talent coming back, Shaquille Gates and others who's stepped up.
Yes. Well, there's several guys. You know, of course, Morgan Sharp is there, and Bubba Keene is also out there. There's very talented players. Of course, you talked about Kel, and he's done a great job for us. We've got Nate Fashion, who's really come on, and I'm telling you, he's a talented kid. Jamaz Mark, who has come out there and done a great job. Those are just several that have showed up through the spring and came back, and really we're expecting big things from. We've got some young freshmen also, and some other guys. We're just deeper than we've ever been. I'm not talking about deeper as guys you can just put in the game to finish. I'm talking about guys who, you know, when you call a play and you don't look to see who's in, and we'd rather call this one because this one's not quite as good or talented. All of them can make things happen. They can catch the football, they run good routes, they make things happen after the ball. Now, back to Marcel. he was really good, and he can make some things happen. And we're not saying we're replacing him. He is. I wish I had him again, but these guys we're deeper and better than we've ever been. And so we feel better about our passing game right now just because of the depth and the talent at each position.
And there's depth in the backfield as well. Alizé Chubbs returns, and Colt Freeman had some big plays and big spots for you last year. Eric Washington, preseason All-Gulf South Conference, some names to choose from there.
There he is. And we've got some good ones. Like you said, Eric is an H-back for us, and he's going to be leading the way as far as our in the passing game and in the running game. He'll do a little bit of running. He'll do a lot of blocking. He'll do some catching. He can do it all. He's one of our best leaders in the weight room and off the field, so he'll be really good for us. We've got some other H-backs that are doing really good as well. And so Cole Lewis is one of those. We've got some other guys at A-back as well. And, you mentioned Alizé Chubbs. He's been here for several years now and has done a great job. He's just gotten better and better each and every year on and off the field. He's a good worker in the weight room as well, and strong. He's explosive. And we also added Tiberius Lampkin, who was a transfer. He actually transferred from Mississippi State, but we recruited him out of junior college, out of Northeast Mississippi, and where he was the MVP of the All-Star game in that great junior college league. So we're excited about him as well, and having that depth there at A-back, because one guy can't get it done. We got to have guys who are fresh and running extremely hard in this tough conference. So we're excited about those guys right there helping us out.
There was a lot of experience on last year's offensive line. 2 or 3 of those guys are back. They're going to provide some leadership, but there are some holes to fill on that O-line this year.
Yes, you know what? We do have some guys back, which is always important. You want to have some experience. Ronnie Smith's one of those guys, and Brandon Wyndham is another. Lawrence Guillot, who is a great player for us. He's in great shape. You look at him, he looks like a big tight end. I mean, the kid can run and is strong. All these guys have worked extremely hard. We've also added some guys, and Jeremiah Campbell will play for us. We've transitioned him from a defensive player to an offensive lineman. That's not what most people like to do. They say, you know what, I'm going to go to offensive line. Is that a good thing? That's the most unselfish position on the team. And we're excited about him because he is talented, he's strong, he's going to be a great addition, and he's just going to be playing his first time there. That's the only bad thing, his experience. We also got some guys who transferred in. E.J. Hurley, who is a really good player. Randon Knight. E.J. is from Kennesaw State. Randon Knight's from Gulf Coast. Both of them big kids. I don't even want to say how big because I hadn't seen what they ate for lunch today, but they are big. I know that, and they'll be able to move some folks. And if they don't move them, they can probably swallow them whole. They're so large, and we're excited about that. We're going to be bigger. We're going to be stronger. We're going to have more depth as well. We also got Chris Alvarez from junior college out in California, who's a very talented kid. Got several others that have been here on our team and have just improved every year. So as of right now, we're looking like we are a strong 2-deep. And in offensive line, that's not all 2-deep play every time. That's the one position where you have fewer rotation than any other, maybe quarterback sometimes. But those guys get in the trenches and they stay there all game long. So we've got enough where we can give them a breather too to get in there and play some, which is exciting.
As we switch now to look at the defense, there are some more new faces on the defensive line, but you have Chris Relaford back, and Carl Rainey, who didn't play at all last year because of an injury, worked really hard to get back, and he hopes to contribute this year as well.
It was a big loss for us last year, and he did that just where he had a weight room injury where he ripped his pec, and that was just something that has healed up really well, and it was actually healed before the season was over. So that was something that we were excited to have him back. He's such an explosive player on defense versus both the run and the pass, so he'll be a good leader for us right there, as he always was. That'd be good to have him for his last and senior year. Relaford is back as well, and he's strong, he's big. We're going to be, those two are really good, but we've added so much, and you know what, when you have just 2 guys, that's good, but you need more than that in the defensive line, especially in this league. So we need to put pressure, because you know what a good D-line does? It helps against the run, but it also helps against the pass. Sometimes the defensive backs get blamed and say, why we can't cover anybody. Well, you know what, we don't have a very good pass rush, but now we're going to have one. We've got several guys that'll do it. Christian Humphreys, who is a nose guard, he'll be in there helping out. We've also got Jordan Barrett, who's a good player, transfer from East Mississippi. We got DJ Smith, who's a high school kid who is playing like a veteran, though. He's strong and big and fast. Got several on the defensive end. Preston Reed, a transfer from Tennessee Tech. Damon Wright, who's also a high school kid, came in out of Spain Park, who is really quick, and not just quick, but he's able to defeat blocks, not just the single blocks, but double teams. We're excited about so many guys on our defensive line. It just goes on and on. That's not the whole group, but overall, we feel like when you rotate in, and I'm on the sideline, and I say it is 3rd and long, or the game is on the line, and I see this other group in the game. In the past, I may be saying, you know what, I wish we had our number ones in right now. This is not the time to get somebody some playing time here. But now I feel like no matter who's in, we're going to have a good pressure on the quarterback and be able to stop the run or the pass with this defensive line.
Carl Rainey missed all of last year. Alex Johnson pretty much missed all of last year. I know that was disappointing to have him go down early in the year,
Yes.
but he returns, and it's a pretty talented linebacking core that you've got.
We do. We have some really good ones. Alex is one of those guys who we lost in the first game. Just planted his foot the wrong way and tore his knee up. So that was not something that, not a contact injury. It just happens. And it's so disappointing, not just for us because we lose a good player, because of the young man. And that's not just happened, to him, but others as well. And they missed their whole season. That's the tough thing about sports, not just football, but it is difficult. But he's back, and that's a good thing. We've got several linebackers that are good, though. Caleb Coleman, who's going to be one of our leaders out there, and he is going to be back for his last year, possibly, but he could graduate, but he has another year of eligibility, which is good. And we'll try to talk him into staying and doing that. We've also got some other guys, Colton McGee, who transferred in. That is really flying around the ball, just exciting to watch, which is good to see. I mean, he is making plays from sideline to sideline. So when we throw a pass against our D, it's not just the secondary that's rallying, it's our linebackers as well. And starting with him, he's one of our faster kids. We've got so many others that have contributed, and there's a good rotation there as well. We've got several deep. I would say at least 2 deep, maybe 3 in some spots, which is good to see.
Well, you mentioned the secondary. This may be the unit that's the deepest of all on the team, led by preseason all-conference pick Chris Manning. There's a lot of experience in the defensive back core for the Choctaws.
There is, and you know what? It is deeper than we've ever been. We're still not as deep as we look at these other teams in our conference because of the cost of school and being a private school. The money doesn't go as far as it will at a state school. That's just the facts. And so that leads to not quite as deep as you'd like, because when one injury happens, and they can happen pretty quick, and football is not, it is changing. I was going to say it's not changing as much, but it is changing. When someone gets a head injury, they don't just send them back in, they pull them out, and that's rightfully so. But you can lose a kid pretty quick just from a tackling drill or hitting the ground the wrong way. So we're also not as deep as we'd like, but we are deeper than we've ever been. We've got several guys that have transferred in that are going to help us. Besides Chris Manning, who's been here for a while, Keith Harrison's been here for a while as a corner. Also Stephen Bradley returns. Reggie Bennett, who was here not last year, but the 2 years before, who was our defensive MVP 2 years in a row, is back, which is exciting to see him back there. Also, we've got 2 guys that came in. Rudy Fry from SEMO, who's going to play corner and could play safety as well. We're excited to see him out there. And we also have several others. We've got a kid that came in from Utah, and we're excited about him, Blake Miller. And that's good to see because he is such a good leader. He's a strong kid, is powerful, a great leader, a great worker, and has made plays against the run. He's a physical tackler. And, when you see that, I can remember back, I'm a long ways out of high school, but I remember back when I was playing, the players around you help you develop what you do. You may not be the toughest, you may not be the best tackler, but you see some others that lead the way. It makes you play a little bit better, a little bit harder. So the more talented players we can get, like these guys we're talking about, the better our whole defense is going to be. It's not just one player, it's not just 2. And Coach Collins has done a great job with our defense right now of stressing getting to the football. it's not just one player making a tackle. We are hustling and we're not loafing at all, and our guys are playing extremely hard, which is exciting to see.
It seems like college teams across really the country often enter the season with questions about special teams and the kicking game, but you don't have a whole lot this year. It would seem like. What have you seen from the place kickers and the punting units in preseason?
Well, I have really been excited. I don't want to jinx ourselves. We got any wood I can knock on around here? This wood right here. We've got really good ones. You know, of course, our punter, Matthew Turcotte, has really been doing a great job for us, okay? And, you know, Greg Nichols is our place kicker. Matt Brazier, of course, kicked last year. He's going to be kicking off. So we've got some guys with some experience. Of course, Nichols at the place kicker got hurt last year and wasn't able to play, and it was a major injury. It just kept him from kicking. It's one of those things. And so anyway, he has really been accurate. He's very confident. Our deep snapper, Hayden Kelly, has done a great job. We've got a good back, got about as good as a starter and backup and even a third string snapper than we've ever had. And we also got a player on our team, Preston Reed, who's a defensive end, who was a snapper at Tennessee Tech. You know, he had done those things. So we've got some guys who can do some things in special teams, especially those special teams units there, the kicking units. That's going to help us with Matthew Turcotte being first team preseason all conference. Of course, I mentioned preseason, and last year he led the league in punting average. And so we're excited about him having a great senior year. He's a perfectionist. He wants to hit that shot every time and just bomb it and get the crowd going, which is exciting. Of course, it changes the field position, and those other guys are putting points on the board, which is exciting. So we're good right now. Hopefully they'll stay healthy, and we'll have a great year in our kicking game.
Last year got that first conference win against Shorter, and a chance to get some others, including the Valdosta State game that you mentioned, the West Florida game. The West Georgia game was one that the Choctaws were right in it. What's the next goal? We know you want to win the conference, but what's the next goal for this team, this program?
Well, you know, of course, I'm here talking to you right now, and I'll say that our goal is to win the conference. That is, because we feel like we do have the talent to do it. Obviously, you know, it's happened before. I was at Southern Arkansas years ago, back in '97. We were preseason pick number 8 in the conference. That sounds familiar, does it? We're picked preseason number 8, and we won it at Southern Arkansas. We won the league. And so it does take a little bit of luck, by the way of, you know, fewer injuries. We need to keep people healthy. We need to keep on continuing to develop. We need to have great leadership within our locker room. We need to make sure people stay positive, because everything's not going to go right. There's going to have some adversity that we will face. There will be plays that don't work. There will be times we lose in the trenches or lose a play. Not necessarily going to lose a game, but we've got to, the thing that we've seen in the past can't have an effect on what's going to happen this year and in our future. So our players are in control of that, and our coaches have done a really good job of preparing them. We're going to continue to work, continue to, you know, get better every day. And I think our kids will understand that. That's the good thing about having these new players coming in from different places and having leadership roles, taking on leadership roles right from the get-go. I feel real good about our team right now. So I feel like those close games are going to turn into victories. And then those ones who we didn't get so close, we're going to turn those into victories as well. I think that there's something we're going to see this year is going to be really special.
Coach, we appreciate your time. We're looking forward to the season. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Reed.